good evening and welcome to the midweek edition of Prime TV News. I'm Ishara Naatuna. Let's get started with your top stories for the day. 5 killed in a road accident in Valikanda, 12 injured. Sri Lanka becomes the only country that appointed a parliamentary select committee for sustainable development. The UNP Working Committee discusses on future strategies. The Special High Court to continue case against Gotabaya after returning to the country receiving treatments. Chennai is in a water crisis. And now for your stories in detail. First, we'll take a look at your local news. 5 people have been killed in a fatal accident that took place in the Valikanda area in Polonnaruwa. According to our provincial correspondents, 12 more people have sustained injuries in the same accident. The fatal accident has been reported near the 89th kilometre post on the Polonnaruwa-Batiklov road at around 1:45 a.m. today. The accident has resulted when a van was trying to overtake a two-wheeler tractor. 4 women and 1 male person who were travelling on the tractor have been killed. The Valikanda police station says 12 individuals who sustained injuries were rushed to the Polonnaruwa hospital. Further investigations are being carried out on the incident. Meanwhile, 2 individuals received injuries as a SLTB bus had collapsed onto a house in Bandaravilla. A bus that had been running on a testing had met with the accident. The residents of the area say the place where the accident took place has been dangerous and road accidents happen frequently. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, states that Sri Lanka is the only country that has appointed a parliamentary select committee to ensure a sustainable development. The central bank governor pointed out that the government's sustainable development strategy encompasses a complete range of projects, including the blue-green economic policy. The governor was speaking at the national launch of the roadmap for sustainable finance in Sri Lanka and a high-level seminar for senior officers of financial institutions and stakeholders. The roadmap has been developed in consultation with different stakeholders to provide a broad direction to financial regulators and financial institutions.
Sri Lanka has made progress towards achieving sustainability. The government has also established a Sustainable Development Council to facilitate the achievement of national, regional and international commitments related to sustainable development. Sri Lanka is the first country to appoint a parliamentary select committee on sustainable development. The Select Committee of Parliament has been mandated to make recommendations to ensure that the UN 2030 agenda for SDGs is attained. The government has also realized the need for providing necessary impetus towards sustainability through budgetary measures. Towards this end, through the 2018 budget, themed a blue-green budget, Enterprise Sri Lanka, the government expressed its intention to integrate the full economic potential of ocean-related activities in formulating the overall growth strategy and to adopt an environmentally sustainable development strategy. Several Sri Lankan banks already follow sustainable banking practices, and international agencies such as IFC are already assisting the banking sector.
Senior Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, also explained about the roadmap on sustainable finance. He said that climatic changes happening all over the world have made a huge impact on economies of countries. The roadmap has given a set of guidelines that helps to encounter such natural hazards and keep the economy stable. The Senior Deputy Governor also said that the vision of the initiative is to achieve sustainable development goals within the next decade. The Working Committee of the UNP met under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today. An array of issues pertaining to the party's future strategies was taken up for the discussion at the meeting. The Working Committee meeting that was held at the Sirikota Party headquarters lasted for 2 hours, according to the UNP parliamentarians. Parliamentarian Kavinda Jayawardena said that issues, for instance, appointing organisers for the United National Front, were discussed in the gathering. He highlighted that the Prime Minister emphasised the need of recommencing Gamara Sirikota programme that was halted due to the recent Easter Sunday terror attack. State Minister Ajit Peruma said that there are moves to instigate extremism and terrorism to bag more votes in the election. The State Minister also said that those elements from the opposition are trying to portray a wrong picture about the current government, though the present government has set aside largest amount of money to renovate Buddhist temples in the country. He highlighted that the working committee discusses about such false campaigns and forming up a strong united national front. Minister Daya Gamage said that allegations levelled on Samurdhi movement are baseless. The report is also questioned about the presidential candidate to be fielded in the upcoming election. State Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka said that as presidential election has not been announced so far, it is pointless to speak about a presidential candidate. He further said that nothing was discussed about the presidential candidature at the working committee meeting. Parliamentarian Kavinda Jayawardena said that no common candidates will be introduced by the UNP in the forthcoming presidential elections. He noted that the UNP has the winning candidate and will be revealed at the right time. Parliamentarian Palitha Rangebandara said that the UNP is ready to field a competent candidate who can win the hearts of the people. The Special Permanent High Court today to take up the case against former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and 7 other defendants. The attorney appeared on behalf of the former Defence Secretary, informed the court that as Gotabaya Rajapaksa has been subjected to a heart surgery, he needs to stay abroad for 6 weeks. The former Defence Secretary was granted permission by the court to receive medical treatments between the 2nd and the 19th of June. The case on misappropriating 33.9 million rupees when constructing D.A. Rajapaksa Memorial Museum was taken up before the trial at bar today. Attorney at law Ali Sabri, who appeared on behalf of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, said that his client went under the knife on the 31st of May at a Singaporean hospital. Though Rajapaksa has already been discharged from the hospital, he needs to rest several weeks under the medical advices. The attorney at law informed the court that his client is scheduled to return to the country on the 24th of July. Accordingly, Special High Court permitted Gotabaya Rajapaksa to stay overseas till the 24th of next month. Meanwhile, a case that has been filed by the FCID against former Minister Basil Rajapaksa in connection with purchasing a land block from the Eliakanda area was heard before the Mandra Magistrates Court today. The defendant party stated that though the case that was filed in 2015, they have not received the indictment so far. Chief Magistrate of Matara, Isru Nethikumara, fixed the trial for 18th of March next year. Meanwhile, the Attorney General filed a motion before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Lankal Jayaratna requesting to revoke the permission granted to Chairman of the Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Jeffrey Aloysius, to travel abroad. Jeffrey Aloysius, who have been charged in connection with the Treasury bond scam, was allowed to visit Singapore from the 1st to the 11th of July to attend his daughter's wedding. U.S. Secretary of State Michael Pompeo is unable to visit Sri Lanka as previously announced due to unavoidable scheduling conflicts during his upcoming visit to the Indo-Pacific region that includes accompanying President Donald Trump to the G20 summit in Japan, U.S. Embassy in Colombo said. The embassy statement added that Secretary Pompeo regrets that he is no longer able to visit Colombo at this time. He hopes to travel to Sri Lanka at a later date to underscore our strong partnership with Sri Lanka, which is rooted in a commitment to democracy, economic growth, and a free, open Indo-Pacific region. The United States remains committed to these objectives and looks forward to building on our long-standing partnership. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal to ban the importation of chainsaws to Sri Lanka with the view of increasing country's forest cover. The government implements various programs aiming to increase the forest cover of the island from 29.7% to 32% by 2030. More than 82,000 mechanical chainsaws have been registered by now, and accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by the President Maithripala Sirisena in his capacity as a Minister of Mahaveli Development and Environment to take necessary steps under the Import and Export Control Act No. 1 of 1969 to prohibit the import of mechanical chainsaws. Meanwhile, the Cabinet of Ministers has endorsed making regulations under the Employees Provident Fund Act No. 15 of 1958 to provide opportunity for members to withdraw benefits promptly and easily. The Cabinet approved the proposal presented by President Maithripala Sirisena upon request of non-Cabinet Minister of Labour and Trade Union to make regulations to inform about the appointments to the Department of Labour within a specific period from the date of appointing an employee. Further expanding the relief packages provided for upgrading the tourism industry affected by the recent terror attacks, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by Mangala Samaraveera, Minister of Finance, to expand relief as follows. Accordingly, grace period up to 31st March 2020 for the Working Capital Loan Scheme was introduced for institutions and individuals engaged in tourism and to expand the coverage of the Debt Securities Fund. The Cabinet also endorsed a proposal to implement Sancharaka Poddo concessionary loan scheme through regional development banks to provide financial assistance that needed by small-scale informal sector persons and institutions engaged in tourism-related business. Parliamentarians Kabir Hashim and MHA Halim were sworn in their ministerial portfolios before President Maithripala Sirisena today. Kabir Hashim took oaths as the Minister of Road Development and Petroleum Resources Development and Halim as the Minister of Postal and Muslim Affairs. The two UNP parliamentarians resigned from ministerial portfolios recently, along with some other Muslim politicians. In more local news, an agreement was signed by the Sri Lankan and Japanese governments, enabling Sri Lanka to send an unlimited number of skilled workers to Japan for a period of 10 years. The agreement was signed in Japan between Minister Harin Fernando and Japan's Minister of Justice, Foreign Affairs, Labour and Welfare. Sri Lanka was among 9 countries given the opportunity to send skilled workers to Japan, and that skilled workers in 14 categories will be able to obtain unlimited employment opportunities in the country as a result of the agreement. Accordingly, those in the healthcare, building, cleaning management, machine parts and tooling industries, industrial machinery industries, electric, electronic and information industries, construction, shipbuilding and ship machinery industries, automobile and repair maintenance, aviation industry, accommodation industry, agriculture, fisheries and aquaculture, manufacture, food and beverages and food service industries will be able to find work in Japan. An expert team from Japan will be arriving in Sri Lanka to share their technical knowledge with skilled workers. Mr. Dayagamage says 20,000 new projects will commence to make Samruddhi beneficiaries the backbone of the country's economy. The minister was speaking at a function held in Alpitia to provide Samruddhi title deeds to 1,600 beneficiaries in the electorate. He pointed out that 20,000 new projects will commence this year itself. The minister said that some Samruddhi officers do not support the government's initiatives. He also pointed out that even some elements think the government will change in few months. He stressed that everybody in the country should work hard to achieve aspired goals in year 2025. The Criminal Investigations Department has so far recorded statements from 758 persons, including 601 females, over allegations against Dr. Mohammad Shafi. Statements have been recorded from 601 mothers who had undergone caesarean operations, 7 specialist obstetricians and gynecologists, 1 senior resident doctor, 6 neonatologists, 11 doctors who assist the surgeon performing caesarean operations, and 10 anesthesiologists. Normally, 2 nurses participate in caesarean deliveries, and that statements have been recorded from 70 such nurses and 1 head nurse, 18 attendants, the director of the Kurunagala Hospital, and 31 other statements crucial for the investigations. The case will be taken up on June 27, and that the CID will submit these statements in brief to the court on that date. The Consumer Affairs Authority says a stock of outdated diapers was taken into custody when the stock was to be released to the market in new packings. According to the sources from the Consumer Affairs Authority, the value of the diapers seized exceeds 10 million rupees. The diapers that were meant to be sold for the use of infants had been doctored with new dates. Assistant Director of the Consumer Affairs Authority of the Western Province, A. Jasur, said that the stock of outdated diapers are to be produced before the court. Final local news, a suspect who had made an attempt to rob a shop in Moragahena was arrested with a firearm by the Panadura police. 3 suspects who have arrived at the shop on a motorbike had tried to loot the owner of the shop by blocking his motor car in front of the shop. The owner had been able to drive towards the Moragahena police station despite the threat from the thieves. Following an investigation based on the vehicle number, the Panadura police was able to apprehend 1 out of 3 suspects. Locally made firearm and 4 bullets were seized in his custody. According to the police, the motorbike that was used to carry out the robbery had been stolen from the Gonapala area in Horana. The suspect is scheduled to be produced before the Horana Magistrates Court. And now we'll take a look at the daily biz news. State-owned Sri Lankan Airlines is to sell a $175 million bond to roll over a similar-sized issue that is maturing this month, which is fully guaranteed by the government. Fitch Ratings said the bond has been given a provisional rating of BXP in line with the sovereign rating. The rating on the bonds is equalized with a long-term foreign currency sovereign credit rating on Sri Lanka, B stable B, and is based on the timely, unconditional and irrevocable guarantee by the government. The obligations of the government as guarantor under the guarantee for the bonds constitute unsecured and unsubordinated obligations of the guarantor and shall at all times rank at least equally with all its other present and future unsecured and unsubordinated obligations, save for the exceptions as may be provided by applicable legislation and subject to the deed of guarantee. That's all we have for you today. To join us again tomorrow at the same time. But till then, you can visit itnnews.lk to be updated with the very latest. I'm Ishara Nautuna. Stay safe, stay blessed, and good night.